This is Spare Parts, your show for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Stephen Cleary, Sean Cavarella, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Welcome to Spare Parts. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Taylor.
And it is Super Bowl Sunday.
Woo, woo, woo.
So this is going to be a quick one because we have places to be, food to eat, beer to drink.
Heck yes.
And bets to win.
I better win. Better win my bet this week.
Okay, so
I lost on that parlay.
Who's everyone going for the Super Bowl then?
Is it bad I win money either way?
How do you win money either way?
I put money mid-season on the Rams to win the Super Bowl.
Beauty.
My god.
After I think they beat the Cardinals for plus 700. And then as a hedge bet, I bet on the Bengals because they're the underdogs. Plus I got a free bet anyways.
Well done. So you're playing both sides.
I'm playing both sides because honestly, I don't care who wins. This is the first one in a while. I don't really care because Tom Brady's not there. I can't tell him to fuck off.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first Super Bowl in a while where whoever wins, I think people can be happy. Obviously, not the fan bases, but fans in general. Yeah. I'm going for the Rams, obviously, because Lions fan.
Yep, I was gonna say you have Matt Stafford, who suffered for 13 years in Detroit, and they couldn't do anything with him, even with him and Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
And you got the up-and-coming star in Joe Burrow, who has taken the league by storm with his finger guns and cigar.
Hot take, Joe Burrow needs to suffer more before he can win. So, go Stafford.
I agree.
That's not the worst.
I agree, Sean, 100%.
So we're all saying Rams.
I'm going for Cincy.
I don't care.
Well, way to break the streak. Okay. So I'm Rams, Steven's a fucking playing both sides coward, and Taylor's Cincinnati. Okay.
That's how you make money, baby.
So
my brother and I've got $50, so
beauty.
Better win.
For this week, we are doing our NASCAR season review because holy shit, the season starts next week.
Yep. The next big American event, right after the biggest American event of the year.
Yeah. So we have pretty much going to go through the teams, talk about some of the odds, look at some of the championship favorites. Just some talking points kind of going into the season. Anyone else have anything to add before we start? Or
I'm actually going to watch NASCAR this year. I will try.
I mean, for betting last year, I think we did pretty well on it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Could have been much better.
That's fair.
But it's going to be a little weird this year because just like F1, which we'll talk about in a couple of weeks after testing, new regulations, new car, kind of a clean slate to start with.
Speaking of new car, that McLaren is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, we'll do a full livery breakdown.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in next week or so. Because as much as we say, like, the Daytona 500 is next week, the odds it takes place on Monday are stupid high.
Yep.
So we may
Can we
actually
bet on that.
Actually, no, it's not a prop bet.
Sadly, no.
Would be a good one. The odds are too strong.
I will have a look.
But
anyway,
anyway,
when you start your race at 3, you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Start the race at noon.
So we'll probably be recording before the race, and therefore next week we'll catch up everything that we missed this week and talk more about the F1 car reveals. And then do the 500 review the next week. But this week is just specifically NASCAR season preview. We'll break it down, teams and drivers, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, new season, new cars. That's been beat over the head a lot. What team do you think is the strongest going into this season?
Oh, that's tough.
I think you got to start with, and I think the team we should start with is the one that was the strongest last season, and that's Hendrick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Larson, Elliott, Byron, Bowman, that has become kind of a powerhouse team.
Mm-hmm.
They did it last year. I'm trying to think, how many wins did they have as a team last year? I actually don't even recall.
I was going to say, just take however many wins Kyle Larson had and add like 5.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're a team that I think is
probably
interesting.
gets in the ballpark.
they're a team that either will dominate this year or seriously take a step back. It's hard to really, I guess, bet on it just because the new regulations, right?
Yeah, we've got one race to go off of, and it was the Clash. So
yeah, and the Fords did well at that, and so much that they got was it neutered a bit? They had to make They had to make some changes to the car.
In gaming terms, we call this a preseason nerf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We made some changes to the code, and these fuckers are way too overpowered.
Okay, patch 1.02.
Yep.
Just gonna get that in there. Reduce speed on Fords to OP.
Yep. Taylor just looks confused.
I know, right? We're fucking nerds. What do you expect?
Well, yeah, you guys are like very knowledgeable about that aspect, and I am not.
See, it's
but I
interesting
also like, again, NASCAR's new for me, so
that's fair.
We'll get there.
NASCAR, there's also a way of looking at it in terms of base of like manufacturers where you have pretty much one team per manufacturer that carries the torch for that manufacturer. For Chevy, it's Hendrick. And then you got some other teams in there that, might have a good result, maybe squeezing a win, but they're not going to really be your championship favorite. For Fords, it's kind of Penske. Maybe, say Stuart Haas, again, might squeeze a win in here and there. They're not the team generally favored for championships. And for Toyota, it's Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
And now with 2311 being the other Toyota team, again, maybe some squeeze in, some good finishes, but they're not going to be your championship team. So the three big dogs are going to be, I think, the big dogs this year. It's going to be a Hendrick, a Penske, or a Joe Gibbs season. I'm pretty sure that's something that can be made from the start just because they're the ones that have the resources, they have the money, they have the talent. So starting with Hendrick, Larson, Elliott, Byron, Bowman, who's your front runner on this team? Is it Larson after last season? Is it Elliott with the money? Do Byron and Bowman step up into that?
I think you guys take Larson. He was just too dominant last year to not at least bet on him to start the year hot.
I agree. I think it would be almost a sure bet. Like I think especially towards the end of the NASCAR season, like you just saw a lot of consistency, and he was on top of everything, right? So, I think it'd be safe to go with Larson again. It just depends on how he starts. If he starts off weak, then maybe he's going to have a rocky season, but you never know.
Larson, I would say, didn't win until the fourth race last year. And by that time, two of his teammates already won. Last year's first 3 to the 4 races, Hendrick won. So
with 3 different drivers.
Yeah. You got to say that they are definitely in a position to have another championship run with 1 or probably 2 drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to the cars. I think Larson and Elliott are your favorites. Mostly with, I would say, some of the road courses coming in with the new car. See if Elliott can kind of keep that tradition going of being, I guess, the best road course driver. Which, is that deserved? Is he the best?
It's too early to tell. You need a bigger sample size, I think. It's not like they race it a ton, right?
Based on the odds, he is always the odds-on favorite.
Yes.
And doesn't he have like a 25% win percentage on those?
Yeah, but I still think you need something a little bit bigger before you say he's the best
like
of all time.
Sweep them for the whole season, basically.
Yeah.
That's valid. I don't think that's too crazy to think he could do that either this year.
No, and I think even if he just doesn't have to sweep, even if he wins like 75% of the races, then maybe. But he's definitely the best one on track. There's no questioning that right now. But
so again, we're still talking to Hendrick here. Elliott and Larson, you'd say, is a lock for playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have to say so. And I mean, looking at our fun little betting site here, they're the top 2.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's no surprise.
Yeah, what are they for championship? Yeah, they are.
For championship, 275 for Larson and 400 for Elliott.
It is interesting to know Byron's up there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he could have a breakout season this year, and that will be one to look out for. And Bowman. Though I think people are usually a little lower on Alex Bowman than most others. So all four will probably make the playoffs. Will they be there at the end? It's safe to say one of them will be.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably safe to say, even say two.
You don't know the playoffs, right?
No, but...
So moving on to, I guess, the next big team. Let's go with Penske, which they got Austin Cindric this year filling in the 2 car, so he's now a rookie technically. You got Ryan Blaney in the 12 and Joey Logano in the 22 as always. What do we think of this team? Losing Keselowski, Cindric in.
Cindric's got a big seat to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I kind of think Logano is going to have a better season this year. He was pretty unlucky last year. I don't know. I think we could see good things from him. He might come out and want to prove a little bit more, like how much talent he's got and stuff like that. Because like last year, it was just tough. It just kind of sucked for him for most races, I think.
Towards the end of the season, he did have a rough patch where he did not do well. He had a few DNFs here and there. Couple far back finishes.
Yeah, and there are certain a lot of situations that were out of his control. So I think it was just an unlucky season for him. So I think maybe this season we could see like really good things from him. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's the top performer on Team Penske.
I'm curious to see how Blaney does. I would like to see Blaney kind of take that team lead role on that team.
Yeah, and he's sort of shown that he can be a top tier driver. I think last season, right? He was up there majority of the time, not every time, but
again,
he was up there a lot.
Penske was really inconsistent though. They could have a couple guys running up top, but a few times they just never had a whole lot of success as a team. Like comparing to, I guess the I mentioned Hendrick being like 3 of the first 4 they win. With Penske, yeah, they weren't always up there. So, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
like, how many wins did they have last year? Just trying to see right now. I have it on the screen. I'm just gonna check. 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, something like that. Yeah. So they
had 4 wins.
Sorry, I missed those 2 at the end. 6 in the season, and none of the playoffs.
Blaney had 3 of them.
Yeah. So
he had 20 top 10s last year too. So I think he could take that.
Yeah.
That top there.
After he's kind of out of that young gun stage into the more team leader. Logano does need to step it up, though. I do agree with Taylor that he needs to have a bounce back season and again regain that position of number 1, like solidify it.
Yep, but so as you mentioned before, the Ford's got a little bit neutered, so maybe Ford has a little something in their engineering that might help them out this year too.
Yeah.
So
I will say Cindric, I think, is house money. It doesn't matter. I don't think he's going to be competitive in terms of for a championship. Will he get some wins? Probably not. Will he get some good finishes? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, give him a year to adjust
But he also is adjusting against everyone else who's also new.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to bet a long shot bet this year in NASCAR, a rookie would not be a bad bet to make. And a guy like Cindric also possibly could come back and, steal that, right? On a top team, everyone's adjusting to a new car. He has no previous knowledge of what really to expect. Wouldn't be a terrible bet. He has a plus 8,000 odds.
Yeah. So
if you really want to play a long shot, Cindric could be someone to go with. And then we'll look at the other favorites. For the Toyotas, Joe Gibbs. Not much to really say there, except Denny Hamlin will probably win at Daytona.
Yep.
As is tradition.
Yep. No. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get another Michael McDowell moment.
I was gonna say we could have another like weird result again.
Jacques Villeneuve for the win. What are the odds in that? Okay, well, no, a second. We'll do that later. We'll do that later. So, Joe Gibbs, Denny Hamlin the 11, Kyle Busch in the 18, Truex in the 19, and Christopher Bell in the 20. What are our thoughts of this team going into the season?
I want to see Chris Bell take a step forward this year. He's another guy I think now with a year under his belt, because this will only be his third year. He got one win last year. I think he could take another step forward in his development and not take over from Denny. Denny's still, I think, the de facto leader, but he's going to be, I think, the guy to watch on that team. We know what Denny Hamlin can do and what Kyle Busch can do.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys,
I agree.
Could Bell be another long shot guy to bet on for the season?
Yeah.
Why not?
Actually, he's not even. No, he's only a plus 2,000 odds, which in the grand scheme of NASCAR betting odds, that's a long favorite.
Yeah, that puts him 11th.
Yeah.
So he's got better odds than Keselowski, Kurt Busch. I mean, those guys are both moving to new teams. So
he basically has better odds than he is the worst odds of all the top teams we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Not talking also the other next fourth best team, which we'll probably get to in a second. So, okay, so with Toyota and Joe Gibbs, we're hoping Christopher Bell takes a step, right? That's kind of a given. Hamlin, I don't know what else you can really expect from him. He's doing it all. If he has a bad year, I wouldn't be surprised, but I expect him to be in the Final Four.
I agree.
He's gotten better. He's gotten so much better with age.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch,
he needs a bounce back year.
I could see him going the other way.
I was going to say the same thing. I think he's going to struggle this year. I just have a feeling.
He has always been so vocal about the cars and how they feel and everything. I can't recall him saying too much about the new ones, but with so much changing that has happened over his career, I could see him just not liking these.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing with him, though, is this year he's taking a step back from Xfinity. He's not racing the Xfinity series anymore. Maybe that's to focus more on NASCAR. He's still doing trucks the odd time. But
I don't know. If Kyle Busch, I think, has another bad year this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets replaced at Gibbs.
Yeah.
If he finds his way out.
I think that's safe to say.
Well, he sort of peaked
not to
3
mention
or 4 years ago.
Who's leaving at the end of this season? His sponsor, M&M's. Right? So they're leaving NASCAR. So if Kyle Busch has a bad season, you take him out and you replace him with a guy who probably brings in a better sponsor. So wouldn't be surprised about that one. So I think there's pressure on him to perform this year. Truex, another guy I expect to win a few races, be there in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs has always been consistent. They have a lot of resources there. So one or two of them, again, will be in the final.
Yeah.
It's funny how we're talking like that, like how, again, we're expecting one or two Joe Gibbs cars, one or two Hendrick cars. There's no one that could really surprise us, I feel, that could make it there. I guess going for the fourth best team, I would say, Stuart Haas.
Yeah, that's probably safe.
You have Harvick carrying that team, and then kind of a whole bunch of... Well, these guys are bound to take a step, right?
Yeah. Eric Amaral in his final season, try and go out on a high note.
I mean, he had a decent year last year, didn't he?
I think the year before was better. Last year was bad luck, I think. Like, he got a win last year, but the year before he had 6 top 5s, 18 top 10s, whereas last year was a win, 2 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. So
that's a team I think that's in need of a shakeup.
Mm-hmm.
Just
they've already sort of started.
They have. They got the young guys in, Cole Custer, Chase Briscoe.
Yeah.
The guys you expect to kind of make a step up. Again, if you want to talk long shot odds, Cole Custer wouldn't be terrible. Again, new car. Decent team. Get a few wins, get lucky in the playoffs, have a Cinderella run kind of. Wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yep.
However,
and again,
That's the thing though with the playoffs though. Like, I don't think you could really count anybody out just because of the way that things are set up in NASCAR. And there's usually like one or two like dark horses that you don't really see coming, and they just end up having a good season and making it to the playoffs, but you just never know. I think anybody could be a safe bet unless they're like consistently bad.
I think the issue is getting to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That will,
That's
like,
fair.
again, I could see Cole Custer possibly having a run in the playoffs. I don't know if he can get there with so much other talent and stuff, and who knows who else will pull off a miracle win somewhere. To have the points to be able to get in, I think this field this year is going to be pretty tight, pretty competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's too many unknowns going in, right? With
Yeah.
pit stops basically changing, teams will have to find a entirely different way of coordinating that, because the coordination has been the same for 20 years, almost 25 years of the get the tires over one side. So now with the single lug nut,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna is a team going to maybe alter the pit stop formula in a way that's beneficial? I don't know. I don't even know if that's a thing that can happen. But there's so much different this year, it's impossible to say how the season will go. But you can kind of go and pass and be like, okay, this team, like Hendrick, Penske, Joe Gibbs, they're good enough. They'll get guys there. They have the talent to get there. A lot of the single car, 2-car teams, I have no idea what to expect out of them, to be honest. Like, does any team jump out to you, Steven or Taylor, that is one to maybe watch that could surprise us by having some good results?
maybe
I
that
think-
23XI,
2311?
2311, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, I think RFK Racing, I think might surprise people.
See, my thought is Richard Childress. Those are my... Okay, so let's go one at a time. Steven, why do you think 2311 is the one that can maybe surprise people this year?
Well, you're bringing in an experienced driver in Kurt Busch, and you got Bubba. So Bubba, I think, has slowly been getting better over the last couple seasons, and this is the perfect chance to maybe try and take a step forward. He got a win last year, a couple more top 5s. He could do something, maybe, take advantage of the short tracks. And he's got a good supporting team. Well, not supporting team, but he'll get help from the Joe Gibbs team if he's in a spot to win, right? The manufacturers always work together. So he's got lots of veteran help there, and now he's got another car on his immediate team to also help him out. So I don't know. I just feel like that team could maybe surprise. I don't know. It's a weird year, right? So any of the small teams could step up and do something, but I don't know. You got a feeling.
That's fair. Taylor, who'd you say? You said RFK?
Yeah.
Thinking Brad Keselowski can rejuvenate that team?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. I mean, he had a decent season last year, like I think he had 10 top 5 finishes. So I don't know, like he could come out strong again and maybe carry the team a little bit, but you never know. NASCAR I find can be like unpredictable that way, but who knows? I think RFK could be the dark horse of the season.
Again, can they compete for wins? Maybe, right?
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
That's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Especially a guy like Chris Buescher, who's kind of he's always around. You know, he's never up there.
Mm-hmm.
He's never back. He's just kind of there. Like, I feel like people forget Chris Buescher has been around for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been in NASCAR full time since 2016. He is 29. I thought he was 30. 29, and I feel like I still consider him like a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a make or break year for him. You know, step up. You have a partner now. Carry that team together, or, you know, maybe a replacement is needed.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, like Richard Childress.
Looking through that lineup, I know what, I don't hate that pick either.
Tyler Reddick has been getting better and better every year. Like, what was it? Last year he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 top 10 finishes.
Yep. 3 top 5s.
And, like, on top of that, like, a 12th, an 11th, a 13th, a 12th, a 15th. Like, he's almost in that consistent top 10 basis on essentially a shit team. Richard Childress has not really been a top competitive team for years, but he's there. He has a few, you know, top 5 finishes. He's dragging that team up. New car, plus also a guy like Austin Dillon, who's been up and down. You know, he's had some success, had some wins. Maybe with the new car, that's a team that can have people in the right place at the right time to get the results needed. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of those two in the playoffs at the end of the year. And again, if you're in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, what is the odds of Tyler Reddick? Where's his odds?
So win the championship?
Yeah.
Plus 4,000.
Ooh.
So you already talked about Cindric. He's above Cindric.
He's got better odds than Cindric. I still like Cindric.
He's the one on the edge of the cliff for that big drop off. So because it's Reddick then Cindric, and that's a 4,000 point difference.
So it looks like the bookies kind of have a similar thought of me, where he could get in there, he could, you know, shake things up. Is he a shoo-in? No, not at all. No. But he's a good driver, and he's only been getting better. And with the new cars, let's see what he can do. So that's a team for me that I'm definitely really hoping for. Anyone else you want to mention of a team to look out for, a team maybe to avoid cheering for, a team you think is just going to be kind of a start and park kind of team?
Looking through, I don't know. It's weird because it's new regulations, right? Like anybody could really surprise. Anyone could, you know, shit the bed.
Okay, so, I got one.
Okay.
To avoid or to watch?
To watch of let's see what happens with this. Okay, hear me out. Trackhouse.
I knew you were going to say that. Like, I knew it.
Okay, Chastain and Suarez. Suarez, I think, he always kind of is there sometimes. He is very up and down. You know, he's had mixed results. He can be up towards the front some races. Other races, he is in the shit, basically.
Or he'll randomly lead. He can do that all in one race. He'll randomly lead and then fall back to 20th.
Yeah, exactly. Chastain has been kind of up and down, trying to get into the Cup Series. He had his, he said 3 full-time seasons. This is his 4th. He's still, 29, you know, still relatively young. That's a guy who maybe with Trackhouse, they can get things done. That's not a driver lineup I really hate. I wouldn't be surprised if they can squeak out a win and get into the playoffs.
be a fun one to watch. You got Mr. especially with Mr. 305 sponsoring that team or owning that team.
Is Pipple not Pipple? It's Pipple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in Trackhouse.
Yeah.
He does.
I remember
good.
We hit that huge last year.
Dude, I barely remember what I had for breakfast.
Fair enough.
Which I actually didn't have breakfast yet, so you know.
There you go. That's why.
Okay, so now let's talk championship and let's look at some of the odds. So, your top 3 favorites, well, let's say top 4, because Byron and Hamlin have the same third place odds. Larson's plus 275, Elliott's plus 400, Hamlin's plus 750, and Byron's plus 750. Of those 4, which one are you most likely to bet on?
I would probably say Chase.
I'd bet Hamlin.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's weird because Hamlin's usually my guy, but I only pick him for the 500.
So this is why I'm saying bet Hamlin versus bet those top 3. Is Larson guaranteed to be the top Hendrick car?
No.
Is Elliott guaranteed to be the top Hendrick car?
No. They're fighting each
Is
other.
Byron guaranteed to be the top Hendrick car?
No, because he's fighting the other two.
Could Byron be the second best Hendrick car?
Could.
Maybe.
Could Elliott be the second best?
Could.
Could Larson be the second best?
Could.
Could all of them be the third best?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So if they're fighting each other and you have the same team up there, why are you not going with Hamlin? Because you know he will be the best on that team.
That's fair.
He will carry Joe Gibbs. He is their number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got Kyle Busch at plus 800, Truex plus 800. I would still bet Hamlin to be better than both of them. He's more consistent. He puts in the work.
Yeah, that's fair.
Versus like a Byron, I could see hopping an Elliott. I could see an Elliott hopping a Larson. I could see Larson falling back after his success last year. If you're looking at, I guess, the top 6 now, which is basically your top 3 Hendricks and your top 3 Joe Gibbs, Hamlin should be your betting favorite.
So you're thinking the entire Toyota manufacturing team will prop up Hamlin, whereas they're going to have to spread support for, or Chevys are going to have to spread support across 3 of them, and it'll be whoever's winning the race.
Well, no, it's really just, in the sense for like those, for Larson and Elliott, they have a high chance of making it at the end, being in that final 4. One of them making that final 4. I don't think Byron has a high chance of being there. Hamlin, we've seen, he's just consistent. He's always running well. Like last year was one of his most consistent years as well. If it wasn't for Larson dominating, we'd be talking more about Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
How he didn't win a lot. He just constantly came top 5.
Yeah. His only bad finishes was Talladega, absolute crapshoot. Nashville was an absolute crapshoot. Had no idea what to expect. Indy Road Course, how well did that go? Do you remember?
Didn't he get punted?
Didn't he get destroyed by the curb?
Oh, yeah.
And then Martinsville, which I think he got taken down in that one too. Almost everything else, he had a top 15 finish. Literally everything else. His worst finish besides those 3 where he basically DNF'd was 14th. He is so consistent. 4 races, you're outside the top 20. Everything else, you're within the top 15. That is unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back at a guy like Busch, like Kyle Busch last year. Yeah, we said he had a bad year. He needs a bounce back. Are we guaranteed that's going to happen? No. Are we guaranteed that Truex will step up and be better than Hamlin? I don't think he'll be better than him. I think he might equal him, but he won't exceed him. So if you're looking at your 2-3 big team, your 2 teams and the 3 big 3 from each, Hamlin has to be your betting favorite. And plus 750, that's not bad odds either.
No.
if you're talking long shots, the Fords, you have Blaney, Logano, Harvick, all right across there. Okay. All 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 respectively. Yeah, I would probably go with those ones. Blaney. Harvick's a good choice too, but he doesn't really have the teammate support. He is really the head of that team. And then Logano, yeah, he could have a bounce back year, like you were saying, Taylor.
Yeah, I think so.
If you had $2 and you're making a long shot bet for the championship, who are you betting on?
How big a long shot are you going here?
I'm asking you guys. Someone with outside the top 9.
So that basically starts at Alex Bowman plus 1,600 and just works your way down to Josh Bilicki at plus 50,000.
If you want to lose money, go right ahead for that one.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just framing it. Oh. There's temptation for Reddick and Bell, maybe Bowman, if we're considering that the start of the long shots.
Yeah, Bowman. I would say Bowman is a long shot. He's the 4th Hendrick car.
But like you were just saying, Hendrick is dominant, and they could sort of all interchange. He's technically the 4th guy on that team going into the season. There's nothing saying he could be the 4th guy coming out of it.
They'll probably all make the playoffs. Does he have the track record to be consistent to get out of the playoffs? I don't think so.
I don't know. Say that's probably a safe long shot bet. Like, it's just hard to say because I don't think anybody is necessarily like that much of a long shot unless you're trash. But just to be different, I'll say Bell. Why not?
Plus 2,000? Okay.
Well, so the argument for Bell there then is that he could be, if you've got questions around Kyle Busch coming back, can Chris Bell be the 3rd guy on that Joe Gibbs team now?
Mm-hmm.
Precisely, yeah.
Right. So
I could see him being able to jump up and take that 2nd spot.
You think he could beat out Truex?
If Kyle Busch continues his decline, which, nothing against him also, but he's getting up there in age. He's, 36?
Like that. Not as young as he used to be.
Yeah. To be fair, Hamlin's 41, so.
Yeah.
They're getting up there in age.
That's pretty old.
I know. I mean, Truex is also 41 as well. That's an old team. So, Christopher Bell is the young guy learning from all the veterans. Young guy, he's still almost 30. If Christopher Bell can kind of take a step up and Busch declines, Truex has some bad luck this year. Yeah, I can see him up there.
Also, don't say Chris Bell old. He's only a couple months older than us.
I know. I saw that.
He's still young.
Yeah, still young.
Old.
He's 6 months older than us.
I love getting older and just being like watching sports nowadays. We're like, think of these kids, and like some 19-year-old. I'm like, fuck, they are kids.
You used to say it jokingly when someone was like a year younger than you. Good kid. And
yeah,
now it's like, oh, kid, he's actually a kid.
Yeah. God damn.
He doesn't know a world without Google.
Yeah, he had to ask Jeeves something.
Yep.
That's a dated reference. Ugh. I would add. Okay.
I'm crying now.
Would you bet a stupid long shot on Bubba Wallace?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Plus 15,000.
I'd be okay with it.
It's like the same as our Vettel bet, honestly.
Honestly, it is. And
it's like, I mean, why not? With the regulations, anything can happen.
Will Bubba make the playoffs? Will he be a top 16? I think he has a chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's got a good supporting team with him now. He's got another vet in Kurt Busch. Who's to say that who's counting him out right off the hop?
I would say he could definitely make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you had to put, I don't know, 8 cars that you would guarantee to make the playoffs.
Ooh. Then
I'm not saying, but like, who would you say of 8 people that's guaranteed to be locked in?
Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Byron, Truex, Blaney, Logano, Bowman, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harvick, or maybe replace Bowman with Harvick.
I was thinking Bowman over Harvick. I was pretty much going like Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Byron. Get those top 4. Bush would probably make the playoffs. Actually, I'm not even too confident about that. I put Truex over Bush. I go for that. Harvick, Blaney. I'd go Reddick. Those 8. I'm 8 guaranteed to make it over the 16 that can.
Yeah, Steven, basically, like, those were all of my choices.
Like I'm
the
basically
same ones.
I'm reading out the odds, but the odds are like that for a reason, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking top 8. Like
The championship's so different because it's you got to make the playoffs and then you got to survive the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, the keys to surviving: be in front.
Don't crash, basically. Actually,
Then how do you avoid crashes? Be in front of them.
They can still get you.
They can still get you, but it's safer typically.
And let's not even talk about the possibility of guys not having cars at some point in the season
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
because there's a supply shortage of chassis available.
Yeah, okay. So that's the other thing. The Daytona winning car this year. Usually it goes to the museum. This year they are scanning it and putting a show car in, and they're even going to scan the confetti that's over the car. And
That's
yeah.
really sad.
Wow.
Yep, that's the state of you know what? As someone who works in the auto industry, that is the state of the auto industry right now.
That's terrifying.
Yep.
But yeah, so a couple big wrecks in Daytona. You could see maybe some of these guys having to sit out a few races, which then brings into the possibility of maybe if some guys have to sit out because they don't have cars, someone that you're not expecting win a race or have good results. So this year really is who fucking knows what will happen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Final thing to talk about before we wrap up. Let's talk Daytona 500. Who you're thinking is going to win? Who's your top 3?
After last year, who knows?
That
I know,
is
it's hard
the
to
question.
say.
Throw $2 down on Timmy Hill. Just take the long odds. You don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, you say that. I was contemplating that just to see what happens.
A little while ago, I can't remember if we talked about this on here or not. Sean, you had the idea of putting $1 on everybody and seeing what the odds are of return. With 33 cars, that's $32. I mean, so Denny Ham, if you put $1 on Denny Hamlin, that gets you $10 back. So I think it's until.
It's not a dumb strategy, actually.
Kind of is.
Okay, it would have to be $1 on like all the long odds people.
Then you can maybe make money back.
Like at what point? Like so, let's cut it down to $20, right? So that'd be what, plus 2,000 is the get your return.
Yeah.
So if you go plus 2,000, put $1 on everyone, that's plus 2,000 all the way back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have 3 guys to pick from at plus 2,000 too. So if you're not going, but like eliminating that idea, you have Hamlin, Larson, Elliott, Blaney, Logano, Keselowski, Byron, Harvick, Bush, Bowman, and Wallace. Those guys are the guys you cannot bet on for this. If you put $1 on everyone else, you have better odds of making money. Because
Maybe.
there is a crapshoot here.
It is. I don't know. I still don't think that's the best way to make money, but you can get your money. I'm not going to tell you how to spend it.
If anyone besides those top 10 win, right? It's 10, 1, 2. Yeah, there's 11 guys.
11.
Yeah.
11 guys. That's a 3. Because everyone says it's a crapshoot. You have a 1 in 4 chance of losing money.
That's not bad odds.
1 in 4 drivers winning that race. You have 3 out of 4 going to make you money. Steven, you can't tell me that's not good odds.
I mean, from a very simplistic way of doing math, you're not wrong.
And it's a $20 bet.
Yes, again, from a very simplistic way of doing math, you're not wrong.
So it's either you have a 1 in 4 chance. You have a 1 in 4 chance of making, or 1 in 4 chance of losing money. But you have a plus. Well, I guess it wouldn't be 1 in 4 because they're all guys you can't bet on if you're doing $20. Only 20 drivers. So basically, it's a 50-50 chance of making money back. 50% chance of losing. Right? There's only 20, so it's just 20 cars. It's 40-car grid.
Yeah. Again, I think
If you're talking me out of it as I'm doing this. I'm like, you know what? Maybe.
I think you gotta.
Might not be the best.
So again, very simplistically, yes. If it's guaranteed to just be anyone wins, yes, you could theoretically make money. But I think if you go back historically and weight it from the top, from 2000 odds plus, I don't think you would get the same math.
But here's the question. Do you look at historically on Daytona 500 or historically super speedways?
You could probably do both.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's probably like every 4 years you get a surprise winner.
Okay, so your odds just went to 1 in 8 versus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you went
Like
from
you had
25% to
McDowell, you had Austin Dillon one year, Trevor Bayne the one time. I'd say Jamie McMurray was the surprise winner in 2010. Yeah. So roughly every 1 in 4 years. This year is even more different because of the cars. So who knows how that'll go. If you're going to take long shot odds, you take long shot odds. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All that being said, my money's still on Denny Hamlin.
I would take... honestly, I would bet on Tyler Reddick.
Okay.
He's my ride or die for this year, Tyler Reddick.
I'm still going. Like I said earlier, I bet Denny every time. He's won 50% of the last 6 races here, or the last 500.
Yeah, that's what that stupid us old package. The package is new this year.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Taylor.
Denny
I'm going with Logano. He'll be my ride or die.
He
Okay.
was your ride or die last year, wasn't he?
Yep. I'm gonna continue the streak.
Continue on the dying side. Okay. Predicted top 3.
Logano.
How about this?
Hamlin.
Top 3 entering the last lap, assuming some crash takes a bunch of fucking people out.
And we get like 4 overtimes again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna say Logano, Kuselowski, and Hamlin.
Hamlin,
to be
Larson,
different.
Blaney.
I'd go Reddick, Suarez, Bowman.
Suarez.
Just to have, because you know someone random's going to be up there.
And
Yeah.
I can't remember if Daytona's in the 305 area code. Because that would be hilarious.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
It's a 386.
Okay, yeah,
Aw.
thank God. Yeah, look at us trying to know American area codes. That ain't going to happen.
Mm-mm.
So, that's our prediction?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll definitely... Steven, we'll talk betting later this week after the duels. See you guys run. See who's got a good shot.
Yep. Shit, that guy wrecked his car. He's not even racing. Fuck.
There goes Hamlin. Could you
All right,
imagine
new money. Jacques Villeneuve. Fuck it. Or actually, no. Who's driving? It's Kaz Gralla driving the money team car, right?
Yes.
Floyd doesn't lose money.
He's plus 10,000 odds. Okay.
Floyd doesn't lose money.
The fact that Villeneuve's odds are plus 4,000 to me is absurd.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Greg Biffle and Michael McDowell have lower odds than Jacques Villeneuve. What the fuck? That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, the
guy
guy never usually does.
The guy is racing for it. He hasn't touched a NASCAR in almost a decade. He is racing for a team that is brand new. And you're going to tell me that his odds are better than like a Chase Briscoe, a Michael McDowell, a Greg Biffle? What?
Yeah,
Like,
who knows?
at this point, yeah, $2 Timmy Hill, fucking go.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Here's a long shot bet. Cody Ware.
I was going to say Matt DiBenedetto, but okay.
Cody Ware for the memes.
Do it.
That has to be it.
Why not?
Do it.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything else you want to go over? Are we done? And can we watch some football?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's football time.
Before we go, Super Bowl, what is your go-to Super Bowl food?
Chicken wings. Done.
Chili. It's a classic.
Yeah, I go nachos.
Fair
No.
enough.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad choice. Just wings are the traditional.
Wings are good. I find people's homemade wings are usually hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
They can be really good or they can be really bad. Sometimes they have good sauce. Sometimes they don't. Nachos,
Yeah.
chips, cheese, whatever the fuck you want to add on there. You can be consistent across the board.
Fair.
Yep.
Fair
And
enough.
you know what? What I'll give to nachos as well. You can make it both vegetarian and meat friendly.
That is
Mhm.
true. And,
But-
you know,
Mhm.
when Sarah's vegetarian, that, you know,
Yeah.
comes in handy.
Do you guys want to guess on average, how many wings are eaten during Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh, it's like a crazy amount.
It is.
Is it like something like, I don't know.
6 million wings.
Fuck no, it's going to be like 130 million.
What is it?
625 million. What are we at?
You guys
What is
are-
it?
You guys are way too low.
Damn it.
What?
1.6 billion.
That's closer.
Fuck. Oh.
10 billion?
1.42 billion wings
Holy shit.
are eaten on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
those poor chickens.
How many wings on a chicken again? Two? So how many chickens are getting murdered?
We're killing so many chickens for one event. That is, I don't know why I find that hilarious.
We sacrificed 750 million chickens in the name of our pigskin gods.
for just
All right.
one event.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what,
I
Steven?
think it's
Thank
football
you
time.
for that fun fact. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a
thank
great
you.
way to end on
Please.
this.
Yes. Please pray for the chickens this day.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to Spare Parts. We'll be back next week. If there was a team or driver you thought we should have mentioned more, feel free to let us know. As for that, we will be back next week talking pretty much all the F1 car launches. Hopefully the 500 happens next Sunday. If it does or not, we will see. And we'll be back then. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Spare Parts. Remember to follow the show on Twitter at sparepartspod and the hosts at Stephen Clary, at Sean Cavarella, and at Tate Moore.